All right, so let's go ahead and administer our assessment. And the learning assessments in seminary are meant to be a tool to help students understand what they do and do not comprehend when it comes to doctrines and principles, what they might want to study more as they try to develop a rounded understanding of the restoration and the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so as we look at the assessments, it should not be used as a test for like a state test for pass-fail. If a student takes the test, the assessment, they will get credit in seminary. It's the responsibility of the teacher to make sure the student reviews the assessment or retakes the assessment or verbally discusses with the teacher until they can pass. So no student who takes the assessment will have credit withheld. With that said, let's make sure we take the anxiety and pressure and stress off the assessment, help students know this is a great chance just to see where we're at, what we could study more, how we could do better. One way we're going to help with that is the assessment this year is being done all digitally using their member number and their church account. They will go on to a website at their convenience, whatever day or time works for them, on their phone, on their tablet, their laptop, a home computer, whatever they want to use. If a student needs assistance, if a student has some learning needs that they want to have some assistance, a mom or dad or brother or sister, a friend, whomever, the teacher, sit down with them and take the assessment with them. They can schedule that or do that. You may have a student who on Sunday could take it with a young women's president or young men's president. Or again, a seminary teacher could sit in the foyer, assist them if they'd like to as well. It does not have to be taken alone. In most cases, it will be. Most of these students could pass this assessment on the first week of seminary. So it's not really a difficult assessment, but there will be some questions that have multiple answers and you're looking for the best answer, or maybe a little bit of a tricky one. They need to read all the answers to get through it. So it's kind of meant and designed to make them think a little bit. When you have students that are taking this assessment, just help them to know that they can log on to a website we're going to give you in a minute and take that assessment at their convenience. If they're taking it, they're struggling with it, they want to ask mom and dad to come help. What a great discussion they'll have with their parents. Having to discuss which one of these answers is correct. That has no concern on us about a student having that kind of assistance. The objective of the assessment is to help them to better understand and rely on the teachings and doctrine of Jesus Christ, and to better understand and rely on his atonement. So we're not really too concerned about the process, but the student taking it on their own when they want to, at home, wherever, will save you as a teacher not losing a day to just simply watch students take tests or have students having login issues because their accounts messed up personally. This will also help you as a teacher to come back and maybe have a review session. I'll show you how you can do all this and monitor where students are at taking their assessment. But to get started with it, teachers, you have this website, LA, learningassessment.churchofjesuschrist.org. Do not have the students go to this site. If students go and try to log in, take the assessment through here, it typically brings up a default error message. la.churchofjesuschrist.org is set to your member account number and your calling as a seminary teacher, and so it will allow you to access it to administer or to monitor the assessment. But students will give them a different site here in just a minute. When you log into this site, it'll bring you up to this portal. In this portal, you'll have one option. Your stake will be available. And so when you click on it, let's go click on, let's say, Kingsland. You'll see all the different options that come up here, the different classes are available in Kingsland. Let's make sure when you're doing this that you're in the 2019-20 school year. Some of these will sometimes bring up the spring semester with no classes down below. If you have no options here, make sure that you're looking at the correct semester or year. So 2019-20, the fall semester, will bring up New Testament. Then it'll bring up your 3 letters, and then it'll bring up then your location. And so in this case, let's go click on Sister Bell's class. By clicking on the name of the class, it's going to bring up an observation site. So we want to make sure it's defaulted with Acts Revelation through alphabetical order. We're going to come down to Matthew through John, with belief and apply, without belief and apply, or just simply the assessment of application. What this is with belief and apply is the assessment, going through all the questions of the assessment, and then afterwards it gives them an anonymous chance to share feedback of, are they reading their scriptures, how often they are, how they're doing with their prayers, how frequent they pray. It's going to ask them some application questions. What they're doing there is they're collecting in an anonymous, not connected to their member number. They're collecting some data of how frequently people are acting to become and are working with that process. So when we give the test initially the first time, we're going to do with belief and apply. If you need to enable the assessment again for a student that might need to retake it, you can do it without belief and apply. And so we're going to do just with belief and apply. It's going to come over here and show us no tests have been attempted, no scores are there, therefore no questions have been missed, and no attention needs to be required because we've not started the assessment. Had the assessment been enabled, they would have some data here to let you know where it's at. So we're going to back up one more time, and that's how you just go look at where things are at and which questions the students are missing. But for us, we want to go back and we're going to look at how to go in and enable or to work on and get prints of it. So you'll click on this box here, again, making sure fall semester 2019-20. You'll check the box. Then you'll come over and click Give Assessment. What that does, it brings you into another portal where we're going to again change our default to Matthew to John with belief and apply. This is going to show us the students that have LDS accounts that are attached to their name. So they will receive the assessment option virtually that they can take in a digital setting. Without this option for a student that does not have an LDS account, member number set up to their member number, then that student would need to take a written assessment. That can be printed here. If you print the answer packet, that will be your PDF that you would want. It has the questions with the answers. You can print the assessment, which is just a blank copy of the questions without the answers, and then print a bubble sheet. I would not worry about the bubble sheet. I would give them a printed assessment, let them circle A, B, C, or D on the assessment, give it back to you. We're not uploading it to Salt Lake. That data is not going to be collected for the use of the stake and the bishop and you. At that point, it's not going to do any good to upload it. We won't be able to receive a benefit from the data. So at that point, print the assessment for students such as this, that they can go in there and take the assessment at home. But I would recommend you print a PDF copy of the assessment with the questions and the correct answers so you can discuss them in class afterwards. In this case, once the names are checked, in this, we're going to uncheck that one because he doesn't have an LDS account attached to him. We would then click on Enable Online Assessment. And at that point, the students are then emailed a confirmation with it. If they need to retake it, instead of this part here, we're going to click on students need to retake it. That's going to be for students that get it below a 75%. And so it'll bring up that particular attention, or students that have not taken the assessment. So you can look at any of these different options that are there. The assessment will be activated at some point in time on Friday, December 6th, at which point you will actually see that the assessments have been activated when you go to these portals. As was said earlier, when you just click on the name of the class, it'll then show you that, and then you'll be able to work with that to see students that are taking it and getting some results back in. So for this right here, we'll show you where to get the packet, print a paper one for the exceptions to the rule that you need to work with your supervisor on. But this is where you won't have to enable an online test because that will be done for us all. So that will already be activated. But you'll be able to go back on, and if you want to have them retake it, give them a chance to start back over. So having done this and having gone to that site, let's go ahead and look at the students now. The students will go to la.churchofjesuschrist.org just like you, but forward online. All one word. la.churchofjesuschrist.org/online. That will take them into the assessment where they'll click on it. It says Start Test. They'll then click on that and begin to work through it. And so this test would not take a long time. It's not a very intensive exam. For some students, it'll be done quicker than others. But that's the blessing of them being able to take it at home or at their convenience. what a great thing to do this Sunday, possibly. I would encourage you to go ahead and reach out to them at some point in time and indicate that the assessments have been activated, and they're welcome to look for an invitation in their email, if they're to the email account that their membership is attached to. The problem that might exist there is if the email goes to spam or to a junk folder, they might not see it, so they might want to look under all folders. But either way, without the invitation, they simply can go to la.churchofjesuschrist.org/online using their phones, tablets, laptops, or computers. Take the assessment. It will show them their results at the end of that, and they'll then be able to know their score. You can also look for that in WISE. So if you go into WISE and where you see you're usually seeing your attendance, if you'll click on the gradebook tab, you'll see that the assessment score will automatically populate into the gradebook under the assessment or test column. And so when it comes to that area, you'll see in the past we've seen, let's hypothetically say it was an 88.5. And so that would populate in there with an 88.5. For some reason, though, WISE won't close out the semester when it's time for that. We'll do another training for that later. It won't do that with a decimal. And so if you see an 88.5, would you please adjust that to an 88 or an 89. So for example, you may see it look like that, at which point just come back and get rid of your decimal or bump it up one, however you'd like. If a student has let's say a 50 on the assessment, then what you can do is you can come back into here and you've met with that student, they've retaken the assessment with you personally, and maybe in the foyer at church or before or after class, and they have passed the assessment. You can change that manually in the gradebook. You don't need them to retake the assessment. Maybe you discuss as a class, you feel like the student understands the questions that they missed. You go in there and you can manually change that to a 75 and then click Save. 75 is the base score needed to pass the assessment, which will activate the student getting credit. Again, any student who takes the assessment will get credit, so that score will need to be changed to a 75 at some point. It's on us to make sure they understand the questions they missed. At the end of the assessment, when you go back into this area where we were at before, again, you can go back and just click on your name. You'll see over here the score and if they need to do anything with that or any attention you need. And then you can make sure it's in the grade book. So just as a reminder, la.churchofjesuschrist.org is the site you'll go to kind of watch and monitor. If you wanted to print the PDF online, look at some of the tools that are there. If you also go into your gospel library under seminary, there is a section for learning assessment, and you can go look in there for some resources. Some of the older data shows the la.ldschurch.org site. That is not an active site. That has been terminated. It has now been converted over to la.churchofjesuschrist.org. So if you are getting an error, make sure you're at the right site. And then we also want to maybe put out on the Facebook or your group me or your text that you sent out to students to look at la.churchofjesuschrist.org/online. They can take the assessment when they're ready for it, and that they'll do great. We know it will. If you have any questions or concerns, definitely reach out to your supervisor. See if they can assist you with whatever you're dealing with. It might be a login issue for a student or something that might be going on there. There's always going to be a couple of glitches here and there. Don't stress. This should not be something that causes you to worry. Again, if a student's doing well in seminary, their percentage is up, we're not going to hold a student back or fail them because of an assessment. So don't let this concern you. You can always go into the grade book and manually put in a 75 for students that need that or have had some learning needs that the assessment is not applicable to. We have complete confidence and trust in you administering the assessment. If there's any questions, please reach out to your supervisor. If they're unable to assist you, and they'll come to me and see if we can help, or you might come to me directly as well. So whatever we can do to assist you, good luck with that and have a great week.